to protect your soul.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire.
Yo, hello everyone. Welcome to another week of SLE, another match, and what a banger this time round. We're having Negative Mental Energy against VTG. It's me, Sanix, and I'm going to be joined on cast by Arvid.
Hello, I'm back.
You sure are, and for what a game. Obviously, we have Division 1 top seed making their way through the lower bracket, knocking out Runtime, and now facing Negative Mental Energy, the last standing Division 2 team. Both teams already securing their spot in the top 4, and both teams already having an eventful playoff run so far.
Yeah, I mean, NME has kind of just been the god slayers of playoffs right now, taking out most Div 1 teams at the moment, looking to secure another win of a Div 1 team. or VTG,
Yeah,
that is.
yeah. And I mean, last time round, NME played against RT1. Pretty convincing 2-0 actually series against RT1. Everyone was
Yep.
saying, Miko's article, it was a prediction for 2-0 for RT1 back then, and it was the other way around, 2-0 for NME, Zero Gaming as well. A pretty strong showing from NME at the time, and
Yeah.
Vitagen. If you look at their playoffs so far, they kind of waited 1 month before they actually played their first series against Evo, which they actually did lose in a 2-1 against Evo. I mean, 1-2 for Vitagen in the case, and even then, this it was kind of shaky game one where they actually won, shaky game two from both teams, and then game three, Vitagen just lost majorly. But once they lost, fell in the lower bracket, matched up against Runtime, the Division 2 first seed, sorry. Won convincingly against them, and moved up now and are facing NME. So it's gonna be an interesting series. There's quite a few different matchups on both sides, different playstyles as well. Enemy is a team that's been playing a lot of that Trundle top so far in SLE, so wouldn't be really surprised if we see a ban directed at the top lane, but also the side of Vitagen having that mid lane carry and Dutch in the jungle playing champions like pretty meta champions, nothing out there, playing the Volibear, playing the Jarvan, and all of that stuff, And on the other hand, you have Looney, who was playing in SCD last split as a support, rolls up the jungle now, and he's pretty confident playing champions like Graves and Wukong, these more carry sort jungle champions.
Yeah, I mean, enemy really enjoys playing those champions. Like you can sort of flex them. Obviously, Trundle is a great jungler, but also can also be used as a split push top laner. And Wukong same thing, maybe a bit more team oriented. But you get what I mean. So yeah, enemy is definitely a really interesting team for me.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, right? Both teams, as I said so many times already so far, are you kind of wouldn't expect Vitagen to be where they are right now. People were kind of expecting them to be up there at the top bracket, already challenging the winners finals. Where Gucci and Evo are right now. But yet here we are in the lower bracket for them. So before we go into draft or anything, before we see even anything banned or picked out, because we might have a bit of wait time before everyone gets in lobby and whatever. What would you say? What is your prediction for today's game?
I mean, I'm expecting very hard Volibear Prio. Probably from both teams. It's just such a strong pick at the moment, and it has been one of the key picks in Vitagen at the moment. So I'm expecting very high Volibear priority. I'm also expecting very high mid priority, specifically from the team of Vitagen. Their mid laner has, in my opinion, been superb. In my opinion, in comparison to the other mid laners, and we've seen I believe Shocking is their mid laner. Who
Shocking is the mid laner of enemy.
Who seemed to have struggled getting solo killed a bunch of times in his last couple of series. So it's kind of just have to be on mid lane at this point. Very high Volibear priority and very high presence in mid lane in this game.
Yeah, and obviously, Team Vitagen, even if we just look at the teams both rank-wise, Vitagen is on average a bit of a higher ranked team compared to Negative Mental Energy, right?
Obviously,
and yeah, as it's a Div 1 team as well. But if you look at it in the case for enemies last week game against RT1, it was also pretty similar, right? RT1 finished second in Division 1, yet they lost to the second seed of Division 2 actually. So we might have that upset, and going into the series, Vitagen is the favorite at the moment, the favorite team to win. But obviously, as you said, a lot of contested picks between both teams without Volibear. Vitagen obviously loving to play around their mid lane and having pretty solid bot lane and top lane on top of it, and Dutch being voted for I think it was split MVP even beforehand. So there's a lot of power in the side of Vitagen.
I am
and yeah.
I am very interested in the top lane matchup because I just think Fabiolo is a very interesting player, and I really think that he will take it over the edge for enemy in this game.
sorry to interrupt you, but we're actually pretty late into draft already. I was talking beforehand that we don't need to be like too early in draft, but I'm just saying now.
Yeah.
The draft's already started. There's been quite a few bans already. If we can change it up to the draft here. But yeah, as you see right now, obviously, as you were saying, NME banning out those mid laners, you're right, banning the Zoe, banning the Ahri, and on the other hand, ByTG banning the Nautilus, banning the Trinda, and banning the Veigar. Trinda's a
Yeah.
top laner who wants to split push, and Veigar is just a really annoying laner to play against, and ByTG opting for the Gwen first pick.
Yeah, it's almost like if negative mental energy read the article that our lovely Mikus posts every week or so, and just copied the key picks list.
Yeah,
2 out of
minus the
3.
Volibear, right? So they
Minus
might
the
be
Volibear,
looking
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, they might be looking for it. Surprised to see that VTG doesn't go for the Volibear matchup, and instead opts for I'm assuming a top lane Gwen matchup.
Yeah, an enemy responding here with that Kaisa first pick. It's also what I also find interesting for the side of VTG. You pick Gwen, and Gwen's kind of a champion that's obviously enemy picking out their bot lane. So Kaisa Leona, pretty strong bot lane, but has the ability to be countered because you pick both champions so early on. But on the topic of Gwen, when you first pick Gwen, a champion that's already scales pretty well into late game, has pretty decent lane prio early on, pretty decent strength and fighting as well. Maybe they're just saying, look, we kind of don't think you guys have a counter for it, so we're just comfortable first picking it and not showing our cards elsewhere on the map.
Then we see the Alistar pickup. Alistar obviously looking to be a counter to Leona. I believe Alistar can just knock Leona out of when she dashes towards your target. And
Yeah.
Alistar is just a great disruptor champion, especially since Kaisa is a champion that really needs to not be touched because of her low range.
So obviously Alistar is a champion that's in the meta not as strong right now, not being picked up a lot. Tristana being paired with the Alistar, so pretty strong fighting bot lane from both teams here. But yeah, that low range from Kaisa might actually hurt against Alistar. But yeah.
What? Oh, and it is the reworked Swain. Swain obviously in the was it dispatch or was it the
It was one of these two patches, but yeah, it is.
He was reworked. Swain, his ultimate got changed, and a bunch of small things in his kit got changed. They try to make him a more of a solo laner. I'm gonna assume this is top lane Swain, because I personally that's what I think he's the best at. But Negative Mental Energy isn't the team that likes going with the norm.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it's already really interesting for both teams. We have that low range on Kaisa on bot lane. That's already going to struggle into the Alistar. So, we both know Tristana level 2 is a very, very strong,
It's a different beast.
Yeah, it's just a lot of kill potential, kill pressure level 2 on bot lane on the side of VTG. Well, NME doesn't realistically have, that much damage on bot lane, especially early on. Even Swain kind of wants to scale up a bit. So, NME will be having to play a bit of a slower game. And, on the ban side, we see that Yasuo and Yone being banned. Obviously, they might think that VTG could pick an AP jungler and pair it with an AD mid laner, or they could just go for an AD jungle and obviously have double AP solo lanes. So it's really interesting. And VTG, on the other hand, banning the Poppy, which might be an indicator that they could be looking for a Yasuo potentially, and banning the Trundle. Enemy locking in the Warwick.
So okay. Here's why I like the Swain pick. So Swain is a champion that he likes long fights, because long fights he can stack up his ultimate, because the ultimate now can just can basically be infinite through an entire team fight if enemies are getting hit by it. So Swain and he heals a lot from it. So he really likes being in a team fight that's long and he can just utilize his whole kit and just kind of take over the fight. And I like that they picked another sustained tank pick in Warwick, even though I have no idea where this Warwick is going.
The Warwick has to be jungle. I mean, top is just a really cheesy pick, unless I could be top into the Gwen actually. But the thing with Warwick, right? He's like a very cheesy pick. Oh, and that's going to be a Gwen jungle most likely.
No,
or mid lane actually. Yeah, what they have Vego. Oh, I have no idea. It could be. It still could be a flex with Ornn mid as well. That was the meta for Ornn mid a year or two ago. So
that was against assassins. You only really picked Ornn against assassins because they had to walk into you, and you potentially picking it against a control mage, sustained control mage.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I mean, on the topic of the Warwick, you know, it's a champion that does really well. It's pretty easy to play as well. Has like
What
very little mechanics.
I
So
I'm just gonna be quiet. I have no idea where this Ivan is going either.
that's an Ivern. I mean,
It
we
could
see,
be Ivan
you know,
mid,
it's a nice
Ivan top,
duality, right?
Ivan jungle.
It's a nice duality. We have Team Vitagen here with a pretty like standard draft for, you know, today's meta. You know, we have the Gwen, we have the Ornn, the Viego, Tristana. The Alistar's kind of the one factor that isn't played much right now in the meta, you know, and it's still a pretty good pick in the low range into low range champions because he does have the ability to close up, especially with Hexflash and all of that. And then on the other hand, we have NME, as we pointed out before, second seed Division 2 team who made it into top 4 at SLE so far, going with a very unorthodox draft, you know.
Yeah.
And they've been known for their previous games so far for picking champions that are mostly, you know, not seen as much or played in roles that, you know, they aren't played in. You know, Trundle top being what they're most known for, I think, in SLE so far. You know, Trundle being one of those prio picks, getting respect banned in second rotation from Vitagen. So NME with a draft that's pretty out there, and yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see it.
If I'm gonna try to predict how the fight's going, so I'm gonna assume enemy just wants to have a long ass team fight. Because Warwick can just heal up a lot. Ivern with the sustain with the shielding. Daisy is really tanky. Swain a very sustainy champion. Leona very tanky. You paired up with a Kai'Sa who wants to go in, but I think Kai'Sa can work fine in a long team fight. You can stack up your passive a lot. But I'm not sure if I enjoy the Tristana pick for VTG.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana's like pretty good, right? Because it's
Yeah.
in a bubble, right? But my issue here with Team Vitagen, you know, obviously, NME has the Warwick, has the Swain, and the Iron Shield. So there's a lot of healing and shielding, but besides Ornn, there's no one really in Vitagen who can, you know, buy like, healing reduction items and use them efficiently, and obviously no one who can buy, you know, anti-shielding either. So, yeah, it's, you know, there might be, you know, those points where Vitagen would struggle later on in the game, but
And I do recall a game between, I think it was Curtain Call Gaming and Jalapenos. It was very early in playoffs, and the Ivan in that game came in extremely clutch in that game. If people remember the game, but the Tristana pick, I would have preferred something with maybe a bit more range or a bit more scaling. Because right now, if this Tristana doesn't snowball, it's gonna do no damage.
Well, actually, you know, Tristana does scale quite hard, especially with, you know, her range scaling into late game.
You can say, I think you can say that for most AD carries. Like
Yeah,
almost
but
every
you know,
AD
Tristana
carry
has the
will
range
scale.
scaling in her. You know, at like level 10, Tristana's gonna be the longest range champion in the game, and it's gonna be pretty hard to get on top of her. Especially playing into Kai'Sa, I think she already has a default like longer range.
But if she's not gonna deal any damage, then what's the point?
Yeah, but that's why
It's
you
kind
also
of where
have a
I'm at.
Gwen. You know, there's a lot of stuff in for the front line of Vitagen that just melts through.
But is it though? I mean, I guess Alistar is a notorious, very annoying champion to deal with when he gets his ultimate. It's almost impossible to focus Alistar because he's gonna pop his ultimate. It's gonna be impossible to kill him, and bam, his entire team is gonna be there.
Yeah, I mean, look, right? We have Vitagen, we have Viego has resets, and Tristana has resets. So I think their primary target focus is gonna be the most important part.
This is a snowball team comp. If VTG doesn't get ahead early and doesn't snowball, I struggle to see them keeping up with the enemy sustain and shields.
Yeah, I
and
actually, you see, I'm completely the opposite on this. I think Vitagen's team comp skill is much harder. You know, it's like pretty annoying. But if they manage to get through the like mid game, I think Vitagen's gonna be in a really strong spot. So you know, I think it's gonna be interesting. You know, which one of us is gonna be right.
It's all for me is when I see an enchanter, I'm just immediately gonna give them bonus points in scaling because enchanters are probably some of the best scaling types of champions in the game.
Okay, but you also have an Ornn with the items that
Yeah,
just give you so much
that
value.
is true. They have an Ornn. I always forget how broken Ornn is. So
Yeah,
honestly,
that's so much. Those are thousands, like inflation in item gold wise,
yeah.
like value.
But I'll trust in the Cinderella story, and I'll go for enemy this game. Cause
Okay,
I don't know,
okay.
maybe I'm just a Swain enjoyer, even though I don't play the role. So
And you know,
maybe
if there's like a matchup in a specific lane this game that you think is gonna be the most interesting to look at, what do you think is gonna be?
that's the problem. I have no idea what the matchups are gonna be. I don't know where Warwick is going. I don't know where Ivan's going. I can you can almost tell where the Swain is going.
Almost.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be Swain mid and Warwick top because I think Warwick was picked top for like a matchup into Gwen because Warwick does kind of outduel most of the champions in league at the moment. But obviously, them picking Ornn into it is gonna make it pretty hard for Warwick. I think Warwick will be forced to go Blade as first item, which will make him quite squishy later on in the game. So, yeah, I think the matchup on top, if it's Warwick on top into Ornn, it's gonna be pretty important. But also that Gwen mid lane, you know, Gwen's a champion that does pretty well in like a side lane, not necessarily a mid lane because she doesn't have as much gank setup. Obviously short range champ as well, so it might be a bit harder for her to set up ganks, especially when you have an Alistar in the team. So yeah, it's that mid top dynamic between both teams. You know, it's gonna be kind of rough, but nice flex from both teams and what they did in draft. But if I am right, I think the game should be starting any moment now. As you know, you have your money on NME. I have my money on Vitagen, so hopefully it is all virtual money as well. We don't support gambling. It's illegal, not healthy.
And yeah, I'm just expecting wherever this Ornn goes, Swain is gonna go as well. That's the only thing I'm certain of is gonna happen.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But yeah, I just think those later game team fights, if Ornn gets a big ult onto a Kai'Sa, I think NME just might lack the damage later on in the game. I think that's where they will struggle off because Warwick does
That's
fall
true.
off.
Actually, that's true. Actually, Warwick
Warwick does
yeah.
fall off after 2 items, and Kai'Sa's strong, pretty you know, good into pretty good into the late game. But other than that, the Swain, I don't really know his damage outputs. Like he's decent, but
I mean, he's gonna have so much sustain late. It's kind of the deal with Swain. He's gonna deal fine damage and he's gonna sustain, so he can just. So his damage numbers kind of gets inflated by how long he's gonna be alive. He likes to build items like Leandris and Demonic Embrace, from what I've seen. So he tends to want to basically burn through enemies slowly. But
as
yeah, we'll see. It's definitely an interesting game.
yeah, as we're going in game here. So I'm interesting. So we see the Iron Jungle, Warwick top with Flash Barrier. Yeah, Swain mid, like you said, Ghost Ignite on Gwen.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, you know, pretty interesting. Again, I'm looking forward to what that Warwick top is going to do. And yeah,
I want to I want to see what this that Conqueror on is that Conqueror on Swain?
if Dread could change the stream on Discord to actual league, would be very very good. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it is Conqueror. I've seen some people go Grasp. But honestly, people are kind of testing out the waters right now with Swain. So builds can honestly really vary. I've seen Leandris, a bit of Emberfrost.
I've also seen tankier stuff, you know, something like a Sunfire, something like a Chemtech as well could work. But as I said earlier, I do think their comp lacks a bit of damage, which might be, you know, a bit detrimental later on in the game as Vitagen doing a cheeky pull there on bot lane.
And we see the solo queue classic, the barrier flash Warwick top.
You know, it could be barrier ignite as well. You know, it could have been much worse.
It could have been much worse, but then again, yeah, you see, so if anyone has been, any solo queue player has been living under a rock on why people go Warwick top, you see, you have so much, you get so much healing out of your little chomp with Warwick that is honestly impossible to trade into Warwick, because Warwick will just heal all of his HP in the early game, and he gets increased attack speed.
Against lower health.
Yeah, against lower health, yeah. So it's impossible to 1v1 unless you can kite him.
Yeah, it's just generally like one of the stronger duelists, you know, even in the jungle. There's not many champions that beat Warwick in a straight up 1v1. That's why he's, you know, pretty good in solo queue up to a mid-diamond elo even, you know. You can pilot him pretty efficiently because he doesn't actually require as much mechanical skill. So for people that like just focus on macro and stuff, it's a pretty decent champion because it just allows you to do that. As we see an invade here from Ivern.
Dutch and Looney fighting in the mid lane. Dutch probably going down to Looney. That's a first blood for the Ivern. And we see X-Tice trying to chase down Looney, but Shocking is there to help him. So yeah, probably gonna look out. But I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, that's just not something you expect an Ivern to invade. Obviously, he didn't get the red buff right because Ivern needs to, you know, channel it and then smite the red buff if he wants to get it instantly. But I didn't wake up this morning and be like, yeah, we'll go into a game and Ivern's gonna invade a Viego and just first blood him at 3 minutes in. Like what?
And did he take the red buff?
No, he didn't because you need to, you know, like channel it.
Oh yeah. I almost forgot. I almost forgot my Ivern mechanics there. My bad.
Yeah. But
Sorry,
Dutch might be looking for an invade here onto the top side. Just went in and dropped the control ward.
Can he though? But I honestly love to see when Ivern's invade, because people probably don't know Ivern does stupid amounts of damage early game. It is surprising how much this champion deals in the early game. His shields are basically mini nuclear bombs.
Plus, I mean, the Ivern pathing, right? It's just like what do you do? It's like he just kind of walks somewhere, he walks places, decides, okay, I'll take this camp, I'll just mark it, and then walks on the other side of the map, goes shopping a bit, comes back, collects a camp, you know? It's like, well, what is the pathing, you know? Like, the pathing is always so, like, unpredictable with Ivern that it's just, you know, it's kind of fun to see it because it's not the generic, oh, 5 camp here, we see him invading, taking a gromp on top side. His both 2 camps are marked as well, so he's probably just going to base and go. And interestingly, he also marked his Krugs. Generally, like, word of thumb for Ivern players is that they don't really want to take Krugs because the stuff you get out of them is not as valuable and it's, you know, not as time efficient. Yeah, especially for Ivern. But I think they did make a change, kind of buff it. I don't know if it's worth taking it now. It's just generally you don't see it as much. But yeah, Ivern kind of having not a farm lead, but we'll be taking those camps and we'll be pretty even on CS with the Viego. But obviously with that first blood, has those completed boots already, those boots of lucidity, so it's pretty strong for him already.
Yeah, and we see in the top, in the other lanes, wait, actually, Bard Papa is looking for a Rom. Oh, but nicely flashed by Shocking. And here comes Looney, actually, so they might be able to turn around on Bard, but still has flash up, so that should not be a kill. Oh, and Dim Sum almost hits the flash hook. Oh, well, we see some trading Tom, and Captain gets a pretty fast, good chunk of damage on Fabiolo, but does get out. Dutch doesn't arrive in time to secure the kill, and that gives just Looney free roam into his bot side jungle. Probably gonna look to take this Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, we could even be seeing a dive bot lane. That wave is slow pushing. It's a pretty big wave. And if not else, LMR might be used to use some summoners, but Ivern is backing off onto the dragon, and this wave won't crash.
He's backing towards his own camp instead. I guess you don't want to fully secure the dragon. You don't really have a lot of... I think you do. I wanted to say something about dives. I don't like seeing Iverns go for dives, especially on bot side, because you only really have one damage dealer, and even if Ivern does a lot of damage, that damage needs to ramp up because you still need to wait for the shield to explode.
Yeah, obviously, but I mean, you know, with that Q, you know, just allowing everyone to dash onto people, it's
That
If
is
you
true.
can get the Leona to start tanking the tower, you know, if you just root someone under tower and just get the Leona to go
wait,
win
I
stun.
might have to cut you off because Looney is looking for a play. Isn't spotted yet. Oh, but misses the Q. Oh, wait. Dimsum actually does dash onto burn, but has to burn the flash early, so he's almost dead. The ignite is ticking, and Dimsum picks up the kill on board Papa. Here comes Captain with the ultimate. Is he gonna hit? He actually hits 2 people, but I don't think it's gonna lead to anything. Oh, nice stun by Dimsum. And VTG goes off with nothing. Elemar dashes in. Is he gonna be able to? Has to use the cleanse. And so many summoner spells has to be burned by VTG for nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, look at top here. Obviously, Dutch will catch the wave on Viego, but yeah, that TP from Ornn, getting the TP, getting the flash as well, ulting, you know, a lot of a very big commitment onto the bot lane. I thought for a second that Gwen's moving for mid, but I checked on the map and Gwen was still mid, so realistically, you don't have a lot of damage, you know, with Tristana that hasn't backed it at the time, or it was just on a cool.
Does put out Fabiolo in the top jungle. Dutch is coming there to follow. Fabiolo with the flash ultimate trying to chase down X-Tice, but sadly misses, so Fabiolo is probably not going to lose his life. Still has the barrier up. Yeah, he's going to get out, but unfortunate death there by Shocking. Lose the 1-1 to X-Tice.
Yeah, Fire Papa also Hex flashing over the wall, you know, wanting to kind of insect the Warwick into his thing. Warwick doing nicely to ult out, and I think this might just be a trade here. Herald for Dragon, and securing first Dragon for NME is a pretty good thing right now because they do want to stall the game. They don't want VTG to be getting those early Dragons, because you know the enemy might be struggling later on in the game damage-wise. So you know, picking up this Dragon does bode pretty well, especially the fact that Ivern is pretty far ahead. If you get an Enchanter on 2 or 3 items early on, it's generally pretty good. So, you know, NME, even though Shocking died on mid there, not losing out too much because they do get the Dragon.
Yeah, and I just want to say in the bot lane play, that was some very desperate plays there by the AD carry and top laner specifically of Team VTG. LMR really wanting to get something going, dashes in, immediately gets hit with the CC. Wait, I might have to
gank.
cut off here because Alistar is not ganking mid.
Well, he ganked. It was a scare gank, you know?
It was,
like, look, I'm here. It's just asserting dominance, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, it was a very desperate play. LMR really didn't need to dash forward there. It kind of just has to just call it a bad day and just back off, not having to burn the cleanse. But still has the flash up, so he's still probably gonna be fine. But I didn't really like that desperate dash play, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like trying to overcompensate, you know, like, okay, we're kind of losing out early game with that Ivern invade. So let's just try to force something. Obviously, it wasn't as big of a force. If that would have worked, it would have meant a free Dragon for them, right? But again, was it really worth using as much resources for basically nothing? Probably not, but you know, it's game 1 of a best of 3 series, so might as well limit us.
Dimson is currently hiding in the bush. Nah, I thought I was going to go look for a fight, but as soon as Bar Papa steps up, he backs off. Level 6 now for the Alistar. That is probably one of the strongest points Alistar will be in the game. You get extremely tanky, and you basically just can't be locked down. Yeah, 55% reduced damage, impossible to deal with. So yeah, we'll see if they can utilize that well. The XP lead is currently in the VTG bot lane's favor. Can we look? Can I get a look at the gold? Gold is buried.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana was getting a lot of that, you know, gold. I mean, solo XP resources because you know Alistar roaming quite a lot. But yeah, as you said, look here, the gold. Obviously, you have NME with just a slight gold lead. Was it a 1.K2? But we might be having a fight.
Sorry to cut you off. There's a fight in mid lane. Looney and Dimsum managed to get on top of Dutch, but Dutch dashed onto Looney, and here comes all the needles. Looney almost gets taken down. Borpapa finished it off, and Viego just got the reset, but the ignite takes him down. LMR gets the rocket jumps forward, can secure a kill onto Dimsum. Rocket jumps forward one more time. Double kill for the VTG and AD carry. Oh, and Shocking gets a kill on Borpapa because of the tower. But yeah.
Yeah, and here we can see Fabio trying to spam that Q. Those blue circles around Ornn is just Warwick Q range. But yeah, again, you know, VTG known pretty so far off in SLE about for their team play mostly. You know, really coordinated, like just play around on the map as 5. You know, we saw that 4-man play on bot side. Really nicely done team fight from the side of VTG here. You know, there's no real objective on the map, but they did swing the gold lead towards them right now. And obviously Looney getting spotted out here. We can see Barda Papa already moving top side as well, just matching the Viego, just making sure that if there is a 1v1 or a 2v2, that they will have that.
Fabiolo might be in trouble here. Dash gets CC'd by the Orm, but here comes the ultimate. Has to ult away. The ultimate still hits, but they do not want to commit. Continue.
Yeah, continuing. But yeah, here we can see obviously the Ivern putting out the bushes on the back so they can move out of vision when they want to, securing that one plate in mid. But 500k, 500 gold lead.
500k gold.
But I mean, if it was 500k and we would still be in game, it would be a bit worrying. But yeah, sieging mid here with that Herald, dropping it. The gold will go to Gwen. That's good, nicely done. No sharing to Alistar.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned you said Alistar. I'm gonna think I am really impressed with how Barpapa has been just moving on the map, just always being there.
Yeah, for sure. And I mentioned earlier as well that Tristana scales like pretty decently into late game, especially increasing her range with every level. And the fact that she's getting a lot of like solo XP, it was really, it kind of matches each other. It's like what the champion wants. Tristana is also a champion that historically has done pretty well in the mid lane. Mostly because of that solo XP and just the more resources that you get, because Tristana is a champion that does need 2 or 3 items to actually start dealing a lot of damage, picking up the Kraken Slayer here in base, so Tristana on the Mythic already. So it really pairs well with each other. As Dragon's up and we might be seeing NME positioning around it, Warwick resetting topside, so we might see him run down there as well. So yeah, this might just be the fight of the game right now. That might just be decided.
Oh wait, Dim Sum actually gets CC down onto Dodge. Dodge almost gets taken down. Wants to maybe get the reset onto Dim Sum. The shield does take Mela. Barpapa is getting focused right now, but he's just so tanky right now. And Excite with the needles just can't die. And Elamor dashes in, but he doesn't seem to get the reset. Shiki Warren does get a double kill onto both the Alistar, and Elamor gets taken down. Only Shiki Warren will fall on enemy. And that is a very nicely played team fight by enemy.
Yeah, it's a 3-for-2 Shiki going into the back line as well. It was just, he goes in, that's what Kai'Sa wants to do, wants to get up in your face, and Captain, and very late TP from him. He did use it and, didn't really even get his ult off. So nicely done fight there from NME, picking up their second dragon, and it will be, I think it's Ocean Soul. Yeah, it's Ocean Soul.
Whoa, with enemy's team comp, I would love to have an Ocean Soul.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, when you don't really have champions in the team that can apply, executioners, healing reduction, like efficiently, obviously, Mortal Reminder isn't really that good of an item. Viego can't really go healing reduction. We see Viego building Kraken Slayer most likely, which I approve because Divine Thunder, Divine Blunder. But other than that,
Divine Thunder is pretty shit. I personally like to go Triforce.
Yeah, I can rate that.
But this game, they're probably just too tanky to make Triforce worth it.
Yeah,
but Fabiolo might get caught out in the jungle. Nope, just gets Blast Cone away. But I am surprised that Swain and Warwick didn't lane swap. I would think it would be a better matchup for Swain to just be paired up against the Ornn, and to have the Warwick against the Bruiser. Warwick is better against Bruisers than tanks.
He does have the blade right now. We did say that he might go blade first item, which he did choose to go for. And the thing with Ornn, he has a lot of damage earlier in lane, but champions that generally do scale pretty well into late game can tend to match Ornn at around 2 to 3 items. And that blade is one of the crucial items to why some champions can match him.
Yeah,
so
and right,
yeah.
And right now, there's almost a lead in every single lane. Maybe top might be arguable, but the only lead that VTG has really in terms of like gold and just pure stats is currently in X-Dicer mid laner, which was the player we thought that they would look for. Looney might be looking for a killer now, but and we did say that they were gonna play around their mid laner, and this Gwen scales really well, really tanky, great sustain.
As Tristana, they just
oh,
pick up a
just-
kill on bot lane.
Yeah, not
That was,
sure how that works, but
It was
did.
just.
It did.
I think it was a
Oh, as
dive.
we do see a 1v1 in top lane, the captain and O just barely flashes away from Fabiolo as he gets the final auto attack in. Solo ball up for Fabiolo in the top lane. Oh, that
Yeah,
right.
and it's really easy to get caught off guard with the Warwick attack speed, you know, especially because I think his attack speed is like 50% against targets that are below 50, and then it goes to like 75% against targets below 25, and you know, especially when you flash auto, you can't even react to that. You know, it's just so fast, especially with his tactical
Oh, and
tempo. but
Borpapa does get a flash and stun onto Dim Sum. Dim Sum flashes away though. Borpapa, oh, just can't really seem to move as Shocking takes him down. Right now, a pretty substantial kill lead, at least for enemy. Not really
Yeah,
showing
I
the
mean,
gold,
kill
but-
lead and dragon lead. The dragons also do convert to a bit of gold, or at least, you know, 10 minutes of extra time on the game. So that timer for VTG is getting longer, and with an Ocean Soul, it is looking pretty good for the side of enemy as we're going into our pause here. So I wonder if we can pull up like an XP stat or something right now during the
a
pause.
gold stat for every player for every player. Oh yeah, we can
As,
get a replay of the kill actually, yeah. Ah, okay. As we, yep, we see Shiki Orin walking down to his bot lane. Doesn't, I guess he, wait, didn't he see Borpapa on the board? I guess he
did, but probably just thought he's moving around. So
Yeah.
no wave, but you know the Alistar with that ult is pretty tanky, and you know picking up the shutdown on Tristana 3-1 is very very strong here.
I
So a
guess he
lot of
thought
gold.
that if he just clears the wave, they can't dive, which, you know, the Kai'Sa did successfully. But yeah, I don't know. Probably a bit too ambitious to stay there, but you know, all we what? Oh yeah, is the experience up, and would also like to see gold, just in terms of like where the clear lead is for enemy.
And yeah, I mean, what I do like about that dive is that Shikioran didn't actually use his exhaust. You know, Tristana could always just cleanse it, so there was no, you know, trades of you know summoner spells there, which I don't think is like important to trade it too much there. As we see the XP here with Gwen having a pretty substantial lead over you know his own teammates, and you know Warwick and Swain, the solo laners, being pretty high up as well, almost level 12. But yeah, down at the bottom, you know, obviously we have the supports, and Dutch as the jungler being quite far behind, you know,
Quite
his
down
team.
bad currently.
Yeah, and half a level behind Looney, and level 11 for Ivern is pretty big. You know, getting Daisy upgraded for another level is pretty big for Ivern, as everyone is positioning here around the dragon. The dragon will be up in the next minute or
might
so.
be looking for a bit of a CC play. Dutch couldn't be caught out here if he wanted to.
Kind of in a choke point
Oh,
here.
but here comes the solar flare from Dim Sum. Dim Sum is stepping forward. Double root by Shocking. Very nice. As Dim Sum dashes in on top of the Ornn. The Ornn is taking a lot of damage. Almost gets taken out. Is he going to be able to sang the Ornn horn? As it's going to be a 5-man knockup. And LMR is now getting a bit excited. He's getting the reset. Dutch also getting the reset. Dutch. Oh, almost gets the kill on Fabiolo. Gets the reset onto Fabiolo. Meanwhile, Borpapa is also getting taken out. Dutch flashes forward. Really wants to get the kills. Dashes on top of Shiki Orin. Shiki Orin with the shield! Saves him, but Elimar takes him out as he's probably gonna take down Looney. Oh, but yeah, 4 for 4, and that was quite of a team fight.
Yeah, that was just a mess team fight all around. I feel like Looney missed the end, his final root there. I think if that would have hit, LMR probably would have died. But yeah, enemy really, you know, showing that they can match Division 1 teams. You know, last time around RT1 and this time around VTG, you know, pretty strong game from enemy so far. That dragon will be up and both teams will be coming out. I think what happened there is Leona hit the ult, but then got minion blocked by the Gromp. Kind of fizzled out the movement.
Elimar is really looking. Captain actually coming in with a TP flank. Oh, I was expecting Looney to almost go down there. Looney actually just gets CC. And has to smite early. Dutch might be able to make it there. Will you be able to make it there, Dutch, to steal it? As Borpapa does get taken down by Shocking. Shocking is stepping forward. It heals a lot with the ultimate. As they want to keep on. They really want this third Drake. As Dutch dashes onto Dim Sum. Dim Sum is happy to tank everything as he dashes into 3 people. As Dutch just gets one shot by Kai'Sa. It's just a decimation. Shocking also takes down Captain. And this surely is the Drake for enemy, right?
Yeah, it has to be enemy on their way back from base. Both teams respawn from this 4v4. Looney staying next to the dragon, you know, not really resetting, having to smite the dragon during the fight just for that extra health. Staying alive and, you know, putting them on soul point right now. I think the graphic is bugged out here, but enemy is on 3 dragons. So yeah, enemy in a spot right now that is really favoring to them.
It's the
As
fire.
as the graphics are having a bit of fun, but we know in our heart that enemy has 3 dragons so far.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring this up earlier, but then a bunch of fighting started to happen. One thing with Viego right now, we talked about it before, how this Viego really wants to snowball, and you know, Kraken Slayer is pretty much the snowball Viego build,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But if you can't do that, if you can't snowball, if you can't get a big lead, you're just too squishy to be able to get your resets. He seems to be building into the death stance, which does help you with your tankiness, but so far no HP stats invested, so he's still going to be pretty squishy. So Dutch really has to rely on his teammates to be able to give him the resets, and I'm not sure if they can even do that, as Dutch almost gets the stun into dim sum. But yeah, I don't know, what's your thought on that?
See, the thing with Kraken Viego, right? Obviously, as you said, it is quite a bit squishy. Generally, it does work a bit better. Let's say if it was Viego and you had an Ivern on your team from, you know, one lane randomly, or in just a general enchanter like a Karma or anything, then Kraken Slayer Viego really does get enabled much more, right? Because you do have that extra sustain in fights. Even as it is now, you kind of need to play it more of an assassin type of playstyle. And I think that is kind of the issue right now. I think the Viego is still playing like he has the sustain from Divine Thunder and tankiness, as Thais is just pushing that bot lane. Gwen at 2 items is a real big threat to all objectives on the map. But yeah, you know, that Viego, it kind of, once you go Kraken Slayer, it forces you to play the game a bit differently, look more for flanks and more for backline, and secure those objectives. And I just think the issue for VTG right now in these team fights is they're not really fighting in you know, union or whatever, unison, whatever the word is.
I might have to cut you off, as Dutch is looking onto Shocking. X-Tice has the needles, and yeah, Shocking is just gonna get taken down. Burns the Sonias, but I think to no avail, as Dutch picked up the shutdown.
Yeah, so VTG, even though they lost the fight, they lost the soul point to NME. Building up a gold lead, 1.5k gold lead for the side of VTG right now. And the game has been pretty back and forth so far when it came to gold. If we could get a gold graph pulled up here, I think we could see a pretty fun graph so far. You know, there's no objective bounties as the game has been pretty close so far, but yeah, there you go.
It's a bumpy roller coaster of a gold graph.
Yeah, it's no real winners so far, you know. Obviously, enemy having that soul point.
As Looney has to flash dodge. But yeah.
Yeah, enemy having that soul point, but, you know, VTG extending the gold lead now, so... you know, what's it gonna be? Is the soul gonna play that big of a factor? As Fabiolo's here is a bit out of position.
Yeah, Captain has to ring the Orn Horn to be able to get CC down Fabiolo. Yeah, Fabiolo is for sure gonna take down Flashes. I guess Flash of Hope.
Yeah, and this could potentially be Baron for the side of VTG. Obviously, Thais is on bot lane with no TP. It has the ghost up, but VTG do decide to back off here.
I think you really want to fight with the Gwen, do you? And here's what I wanted to say about the Gwen pick. So, Gwen, when you fight with Gwen, you kind of want a long team fight, because that's when Gwen works her magic. She has so much sustain, and her damage really does ramp up in the middle of a team fight.
I think we might be seeing a move towards Baron here for enemy, or not.
No, but you don't really have the outright burst with Gwen.
So you kind of coming up in a minute.
But yeah, Oz Dodge does get it with the CC, but they do not commit. But that's kind of what enemy's team fight want. Enemy wants to fight long, because that's when that's when Swain can just really shine in a team fight, even Warwick in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, of course, right? You want to stack up the Lethal Tempo, you want to stack up the Conqueror, the Riftmaker. A lot of stuff you do want to stack up. Even the Moonstone, I think it works on like some type of stacking thing, right? So there's a lot of stuff where you want to get it up, but
Shocking does get caught up by Bar Papa. The Ignite is burned onto him. Sonya's is used again. I think Bar Papa might have stepped a bit too forward, has to flash away, as Fabiolo is looking, and Shiki Orin just ults for the kill, as Fabiolo ults onto Gwen, and Dodge does get the reset, but just gets taken out by Shocking in the end, and Elamar has to rocket jump away, and VTG just
And this is gonna be Soul for NME.
Yeah, that's Soul. I'm not sure what VTG were thinking there going for the fight. When you couldn't get the pick onto Shocking, your support had to dash away, and I assume that they just had to fight because Warwick ulted in. But
yeah, and I mean they could just move for Baron here. They do have quite a lot of damage. Obviously TP on the
healing as
TP
well.
on the Ornn, but they have no TP on Gwen. There's no Hex Tech, so Gwen will take some time. 10 seconds till she's up. Dutch as well, still dead. But okay, they're not gonna do it. They still have yet to take down a tower enemy. So a lot of gold on the map for them. But you know, other than that, you know, they're also on Soul already.
Yeah.
So.
And this is almost kind of the perfect.
That was close. That was.
I think Dim Sum had flash, but okay, VTG, they just want to start off the Drake. They're like, okay, dude, if you're gonna win the team fight, you better come to this Baron, or else you're gonna throw the game. So, yep.
And the Baron is going down quite fast.
Yeah.
Enemy has no
they don't
vision.
really have a clear way of going in, except for Looney. Looney has to get into the pit, but yeah, VTG just taking the Baron underneath enemies' noses, but.
I mean, that's nicely like understood that. You know, okay, look. Everyone's resetting, they just got that, so, you know, we kind of need to do a Hail Mary play here. We need to take the Baron. It's kind of our only chance right now. Build up the gold and just play with side waves. Obviously, like, enemy doesn't really have as much siege. They don't have so much wave clear against us, besides the Kai'Sa. So, enemy here, sitting in the bush. No vision from the side of VTG.
Oh, they might get a pick on the X Tyson. Most important, oh, okay. They just step up to get the turret. And now we start to see the turret gold rolling. Not gonna commit for the second one, but yeah. So yeah, you do lose the Baron as enemy, but you still have the Soul. So I think you can just wait out 2 minutes for the Baron buff to end. So not horrible for enemy. You live with it, but that's definitely not something you want to see happen again.
Yeah, and I mean, look, obviously, you know, Baron gives you what, like 1.5k gold, something like that, right? 300 to each player. So, you know, even it's just as a gold objective, just to get some gold onto everyone, it's pretty decent. Obviously, we see that Tristana going Mortal Reminder, so that puts her damage like really far back as well. Has the LDR, but as I was saying before, Mortal Reminder not really that good of an item. But you need to go healing reduction here against an Ocean Soul and against a Warwick and Ivern, where there's a lot of healing. But this might be.
I'm not even sure if that's gonna be enough. As Dutch gets caught up by the Ivern Q, Daisy gets popped, but yeah. It's just a suicide mission.
Minute of silence for Daisy, everyone.
Yep.
F in chat for Daisy. That was a
Please
sad
don't
one.
start a team fight during that minute.
Yeah. Also, the thing with Ivern, right? Like you can have Daisy out, and the Ivern ult cooldown goes. It starts counting down the moment Daisy comes out, right? It's not like some champions where it only starts counting down the moment your ult expires. So Ivern can realistically have Daisy up for all the time right now if she doesn't get killed, which is like really strong. Obviously now with that ult probably having another 30 seconds or so of a cooldown, enemy is a bit weak because they don't have that 6th member in their team. But yeah, as VTG is looking to siege bot lane here, that's 6.
Probably only gonna look scarce. The Ornhorn gets popped onto Shocking. Shocking almost gets taken out, but manages Zonias in the end. Still healing up, but I think that's gonna be the shutdown. Fabiolo actually gonna get shut down, and Shikior also gets shut down. You can't win like this, VTG. You have no Drakes, but they just get 3 kills, and the death timers are fairly strong, so they might be able to get a lot of turrets out of this.
I think this could be game as well. Honestly, enemy doesn't have any wave clear against 2 cannon minions and Tristana E, so
this was not a game that VTG should have won. They had no dragons. They had 1 Baron and a dream, but that dream is becoming reality as VTG look to take game 1 of the series.
Yeah, and I mean, I think VTG just showed here how, you know, they're you know, top 1 seed from Division 1. Obviously, a really messy game from VTG here. And on the other hand, a really nicely done game from NME until that final mistake. I think Shocking was getting caught out quite a bit during this game, and I think that was, you know, getting caught out 1 too many times towards the end there. Got the Zonias off, but it just wasn't enough. You know, it wasn't really a place where you want to fight. And you know, it kind of came to bite them towards the end. But yeah, look, I mean, considering the predictions from you know, our dear friend article writer Savage Mikus was a 2-0 for VTG before the games. The fact enemy had a performance as they did in this game was very impressive.
Yeah, and I just hope that game won't go to the enemy players' heads. Because obviously, if you lose the game like that, you have soul, you have a pretty substantial lead on most of your players, and the game was just really looking in your favor. You just had to wait out the Baron buff. It had 40 seconds left. It was
Yeah.
only 40 seconds left on that Baron, and to just lose it like that, it has to make you mad. But I just hope it doesn't happen. I hope we can get a banger game too.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has potential to go to 3 games this series. Obviously, top 4 teams in SLE right now. So, yeah, I mean, right now I think there's gonna be a short break between the games, but obviously, if I'm not mistaken, uh, yeah. So around a 5-minute break we're gonna take. But yeah, well, we go get some refreshments. I suggest everyone else watching this game does as well, because if we had a banger game like this with such explosive team fights, who knows what awaits us in the following games. So on that note, yeah, we'll be back in just a few minutes, and yeah, stick with us for more bangers.
Yeah.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Welcome back, everyone. It was a very long break. Our throats got enough water, hopefully. Not use your points to hydrate us using liquid. I mean, using points to hydrate us. But anyways, that game pretty wild, right? It was a pretty we kind of discussed it backstage, behind the loading screen, behind the timer. Oh yes, finally hydrates. I'm finally allowed to drink, man. I'm finally allowed to drink. This is what it's all about. This is why I cast, so I basically don't drink all day just to come on cast and hope the people say hydrate just so I can drink. Oh my god.
I should have popped open a cold one before this map. This match is looking to be a banger. But yeah, and for people who just tuned in, we just saw game 1 against VTG and NME. VTG, after a surprising comeback, managed to take game 1 and are hoping to get a 2-0 sweep. And remember, this is an elimination game. There's no coming back from this. It's like now or never for these teams.
Yeah, I mean, the winner of this game will be playing in the loser bracket finals, the bottom bracket finals, and they will be playing, the winner of that match will be playing in the grand final, which will be a best of 5. So, but the winner of this will be playing against either Team Evo, who has been a very strong team in playoffs so far, having a bit of a shaky performances against Zero, at least in game 1, but then having a very strong performance in game 3 against Vitagen, where they absolutely, just demolish them, and then Vitagen obviously coming back in playoffs. So it's all to play for here, and obviously can't count out Gucci Gaming, who had a pretty almost very mild playoff experience so far in comparison to these teams. They played Runtime, who was a pretty confident, pretty decent series win. Played RT1 Gucci, who was a pretty good series win, and are now matched up against Evo. So in comparison to Vitagen and NME, had these two teams had very, very eventful playoffs so far. So yeah, it's
yeah, and yeah, we have a poll now for hydrate inflation. The current poll is yeah. Well, we don't care about that poll because now draft has started.
Yeah, and obviously, look, NME banning out the Zoe, banning out the Aurelia, and banning out the Gwen, saying Gwen definitely was a problem last game. Didn't have TP, wasn't grouping as much, but had so much lane pressure on the side lanes that it's just worth a ban. Vitagen, I don't really know what their second ban was unless they said it in chat, because I probably just missed it. It was a bit late. Banning the Nautilus, though, and we'll probably be banning the Veigar here. Usually, if you're banning Veigar, you might be looking for an Ahri. Veigar's a pretty good pick into Ahri. Ahri doesn't have as many counters as other mid lane champions. There's a few champions like LeBlanc that are good into Ahri, but yeah, NME might be looking for an Ahri, be one of their own here, considering they banned it last time round. So yeah, it's interesting to see what NME is going to pick here. As I don't know if I heard it right, but what was I don't know if you have the second ban for Vitagen, but might be Wukong first pick here. And it is locked in. Wukong first pick for the side of NME. So, Arve, what's your thoughts on Wukong?
I love Wukong. I think it's a really good team fighting champion, especially in when you're talking about lower ranks. Wukong can be incredibly hard to deal with. If you're an AD carry and Wukong gets on top of you and you don't have a way to get out, you're dead, or useless. And Wukong, I'm gonna expect this to be a jungle Wukong. I know Looney. Looney has been a Wukong jungle enjoyer for the past time. So,
Yeah.
but it's a pretty decent top laner as well. So we'll see as Team Vitagen picks the Ahri, one of their key picks. Ahri, strong roaming champion, decent in lane. It's pretty alright.
Yeah, so we're kind of expecting that Ahri to get picked in from either side. Second pick hovering that Swain might be locking it in. That's a lot of AP already, though, on the side of Vitagen if they do opt for Swain here.
Fuck it, dude.
And they do.
I love this. Oh, please let this one be a banger as well. Holy moly.
Yeah, I mean, also, we said Looney played Wukong like before. He has one match in playoffs against Zero Gaming, which was also a win on the Wukong. So, could be taking that W here with this as well. But anyways, B2, B3 now for this side of NME. Vitagen showing that they're very AP heavy. And, the one counter that's pretty easy to play into into Ahri, but they just offer the Sylas.
I mean, Sylas, you have okay ultimates. to steal currently. Ori, you get a lot of mobility, which and if you can lock down a Sylas can just go ham. And Swain ult is okay as well. You get a lot of stats. You get a lot of stat steroids, and you get a lot of sustain. So
I'd be
yeah,
looking for the Kai'Sa as well again. Kai'Sa did very good last game. Shikiorn playing it very, very well. And they do opt to lock it in. But yeah, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Sylas here. I don't think there's just enough ults yet shown for the side of VTG
yeah,
to be making it useful. And VTG just opting in for the lock on Jhin, which is like a pretty useless ult for Sylas here. So, you know, VTG going for that enabling type of support. So I think Vitagen might be looking for a carry type jungler here as well, and just pairing it with a lot
yeah.
of map pressure with the Ahri.
What carry jungler would that be? Would like I can see like maybe Graves could be okay.
Yeah,
The
there's a few, right? You could go Graves. Obviously, Wukong is picked out.
can go
Viego is still
Viego
open.
again.
Yeah. Um,
Trouble.
there's a few options. You could even go for something more unorthodox, some stuff that we haven't seen, maybe even something gank wise, like a Rek'Sai.
Yeah,
Obviously, isn't as good in
oh,
competitive, but
Rek'Sai, I love her.
I
I love
love Rek'Sai
playing her.
too.
She's
Rek'Sai, my
so
beloved.
I think she's so sleeper. She's so sleeper at the moment.
I don't think she's as strong and competitive because she is quite easy to track down, and her jungle pathing is pretty,
Predictable.
pretty good to read. But yeah, when you have setups like Ari and Swain, a lot of CC on those solo lane
Someone's
setups,
gonna die.
yeah, someone
Someone's
is going to
gonna die.
die.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, also into Wukong though. Yeah, if you do match up in the jungle, it will be a bit rough for you though, because Wukong with that armor passive, stacking up the armor, stacking up the health regen, he does win a lot of these 1v1 jungle trains if you match up in the
Yeah.
jungle. But yeah, obviously we get to drink more water before we're gonna go into the game.
Mm.
I'll hydrate once the draft is over, so I don't stop talking. But yeah, Vitagen banning out the Trundle and Karma again, two champions that
And
enemy has played before.
do you think it's a Swain support?
Um, we could be seeing a Swain support. I think it is a flex pick. Swain support obviously isn't as strong as it used to be because you can't pull out of your ally CC anymore. So there was that pairing with Jhin usually, but not right now. And Duchess Poppy, something we've seen in the past, something we could see now, does pretty well into Wukong, does pretty well into Sylas, so already has a lot of value with that W.
They have a decent amount of dashes right now.
Yeah,
In
and
both
we see the
Sylas
Poppy
and
locket
Wukong.
here.
Yeah. So yeah, right now are very pretty tanky, and pretty annoying champions right now for VTG. They have minus the Jhin, a sustaining Swain, a mobile Ori, and a tanky CCing Poppy, and a Jhin as well.
Yeah, and obviously this Poppy, I know Dutch plays.
Diana.
Hmm.
I mean,
Is
that's
this gonna be one of those pretty old Silas supports? I rate it. I rate it. Now you go Diana Yasuo with the Silas
Yeah.
support. I
If
rate it, man.
I go with I mean go home or you either die a winner or lose or lose with respect. I don't know.
Obviously, it's gonna be a Zyra support. Okay, I like this.
Okay. So is it Silas Hope?
It's Silas mid into Ari, and it's going to be Wukong top and Diana jungle, I think.
Huh.
But yeah, I do like Zyra support. There's a lot of lane prio that Zyra herself can create,
of
which is
crowd
the plants.
control.
Yeah, a lot of control that she has on her own, especially playing into two champions that kind of want to enable. And we see the Volibear being locked in here, so that might just be a Poppy top lane or a Volley top lane. Who knows? We'll see eventually.
I'm gonna assume I'm gonna say Swain Jhin bot, Poppy top, Volibear jungle, Ori mid.
You see, Dutch plays both those champions. I know for a fact he plays a lot of Volibear. He played it quite a lot in playoffs, and I know he played Poppy beforehand. But what's he gonna play?
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on VTG on this one. I think enemy's team comp is way too weird, and I struggle to see how the Diana works.
Yeah, there's not much follow up onto Diana, right? You would have to pair it with the Zyra ult. Both teams are quite AP heavy here, and if we who could realistically build, Maw, right? We have the Wukong top who can build Maw. We have Kaisa who can somewhat go Maw, but other than that, it's not really, a lot of Maw potential on one side, and then on the other hand, you have the Poppy who is going top, who will probably be building Force of Nature, with Deadman. So a lot of that movement speed, mobility, Volibear as well, kind of in the same boat as Poppy. So not a lot of not a lot of mob builders on either side. Besides obviously Jin, who could be going for that lethality gym build that's been popping out around recently, right, with Dark Harvest and Umbral Glaive. Um, we haven't been seeing a lot of how meta is developing in higher levels of play. Obviously, there's teams that do try to bring some of that into their games, and there's teams that don't. We've been seeing Tristana, who wasn't really a pick that's been played as often. We saw Tristana a few times during regular split. One of the games was RT1 Gucci, where Tristana was picked out, where it was a Tristana versus Jinx, where Jinx won the matchup. So it's interesting to see how the meta is obviously a bit evolving through the patches. Obviously next week we're gonna have the big durability patch, so that's gonna change the meta as well. But yeah, on this side, again, as I was saying, both teams kind of pretty damage AP heavy. But if you look at one side, you have Volibear Poppy, so pretty strong front line. And the damage really is on Ari and Jin, right? Meanwhile, on the other hand, you don't really have that much front line, but you have Zyra support who can one-shot almost any carry as well, and all the other champions have the ability to one-shot people too. So a lot of damage on the side of NME, and I think it's just all about getting those explosive picks. And again, I think they do have a draft this time around that has much more damage than the opposition. Beforehand, we had VTG, who kind of had the draft with much more damage, and this time around we have NME here who has the draft with more damage. So
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I'm just hoping to see another banger, like we saw last game. But we'll see. So interesting picks all around. I'm interested how the new Swain functions as a support. But I even though you can't pull the targets anymore, I mean you still have the CC set up with Jin and Swain. So,
yeah.
can
I
work.
mean, he did. Varda Papa did actually play Swain in their series against Runtime, where he actually went 12-4-19 on support Swain. So, yeah,
The
there
new
is,
Swain or old?
Hmm?
Was it old Swain or new Swain?
It was new Swain.
Mm-hmm.
So it still has Swain as a whole has quite a lot of damage in the kit, just not a lot of that enabling pulls and enabling a lot of CC. It's much more you need to rely on your own E much more than beforehand. But yeah, if an E from Swain lands on the bot lane, let's say on Zyra for example, who Zyra is a pretty squishy champ, because the way Swain E works, right? You E, the route is pretty long, but then if you play it right, you can still pull back, and that's even more CC. And then with the Gene Snare on top, that's like 3.5 seconds of CC just from two abilities, from two champions. And during those 2.5 seconds, you have more than enough time to just do enough damage onto Zyra, who's a very squishy champion, and just pick up a kill. So it's gonna be really volatile and really important in how enemy is going to position on their bot lane.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree. We are gonna have to wait a few minutes, 2 minutes to be exact, to get into the game. Obviously, spectator delay. Uh, I just kind of like who. So I think I mentioned it before, but who do you actually think will win? I have my money on VTG here. What do you have?
I will not. I will not place a bet. I was, I lost all my betting money last time round when I said that. Actually, no, I didn't, because I did say Vitagen is gonna win, right? But yeah, it's not healthy. You know, let's say if I was someone watching in chat, I don't know if we had a poll up or betting for points for which team's gonna win. But if I was actually betting in chat there, it would have been pretty scary for my points at certain points. So I'll refrain from doing that for this.
Bit of betting never hurt anyone.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I think again both teams have the ability to edge each other out. Last time round we saw enemy having Ocean Soul, and then one mistake, it was a occurring mistake over the course of the game, but you know, it was one time too many that actually cost them the game towards the end. But they did have a really good showing earlier on in the game, getting those fights, and maybe with actually having much more damage here, they could execute those fights better and get a win off of Vitagen here in this game. So you know what? I'll go with enemy
I
for the sake of contrast between us. Because I do think that Vitagen might be lacking a bit of damage towards the later stages of the game. If, let's say, Swain and Jin don't really get too much ahead, then obviously, mid lane Ari, I think, will be getting ahead onto Silas, as it's a ranged versus a melee matchup, which generally can get abused pretty hard. So, this time around, it's much more focused around the bot lane and mid lane, I think, as last time it was, just mostly mid where the focus of the game was. We saw Barda Papa roaming a lot mid last time round. And now it's all about I don't I never played in competitive with a Swain in my team as a support. So I don't really know what function Swain wants to do. It could just be like a damage mage, but Barda Papa is a guy, a player that wants to roam a lot. He was making so much pressure in mid lane with the Alistar last time round. So I'm interested to see if he will be doing that this game. And the thing with Jin is, Jin can follow up from quite a long range, and if you land one piss of CC, you can just chain it even with the Jin W and so forth. So there's a lot of just cross map play as we are going into the game here. As we see, everyone's level 1 XP. Pretty fair game. Everyone starts equal. Vitagen has the 1-0 lead in the series so far. And we see 5 members of NME walking down mid lane. They will be spotted out by Dutch, I think. No, Dutch doesn't walk too far in, so I don't think he actually spots them. Oh, I don't think they were spotted.
Oh no. Oh, as Dutch almost might get picked up. Dim Sum, does he have the E as...
Oh, and that's a flash.
Everything misses, but they do get Dutch's flash.
And that's, regardless, flash on Volibear is pretty big. One of Volibear's, what you want to do is, either 3 camp it or 5 camp it or whatever you do, and then just run onto a lane. And if you actually have kill pressure, you just Q flash on the guy and he's dead. Especially with PTA, there's a lot of damage, right? Q auto W, you proc PTA quite fast, a lot of burst. So, taking the flash out of Volibear, pretty big start already for NME here. And they do have the gold lead from the Zyra procs on Spell Thief. So they do have the mental edge so far at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Also getting the vision down onto the red.
Active, I had to answer something on my phone, so.
Yeah, also having the vision on the red here for the side of enemy. So they do know where the Volibear is starting. Both junglers will be pathing against each other, so they will not be meeting. And Shocking taking a trade mid here. Both mid laners starting corrupting pot. So there will be quite some sustain, especially level 2 on Silas.
That's a very big jump. Remember, ignite on both laners, so you really can't afford to make any mistakes.
Very volatile mid there.
Follow dash onto Captain. Yep. Tank versus Bruiser matchup usually doesn't end up in a lot of kills. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So Shocking.
Oh. He's playing with fire.
He dashed onto X-Ties. Almost just needs one ignite.
Oh,
But he doesn't get the final auto attack, and the ignite won't be enough. Shocking dies, and Shocky Orientus gets killed by LMR. Disastrous early games so far for enemy.
Yeah, I mean, Atais just turned level 2 under tower, leveled up charm, and just threw the charm straight in Silas's face, pulled him under tower, and said, "Look, you're not killing me like this." It was very close. I think it was one auto off for Shocking to get the kill there, but. Yeah, it was rough. So no ignites in the mid laners right now, but Ari picking up the first blood, and that's very, very big. Also bot lane getting that lead. I don't think their wave on bot lane crashed into the tower, so that's still pretty good for the side of NME, or not as bad. Actually, I'm wrong. The wave is pushing into the side of Vitagen, so Volibear pathing towards bot side here might be pretty bad here, as he could decide for a gank.
Yeah. As Fabiolo right now is getting taken down very low. Captain still has to sustain and the cookies and the potion to still keep alive, so Fabiolo might have to look to reset soon. as Dutch currently looking to the bot lane. The bushes are not warded yet for enemy, so this could look to be a clean dive for Shikiorn. Has no flash, but no. Sees the play.
Does get hit.
Does get hit by the CC. Gets taken down to half HP, but yeah, nothing more is gonna come of that. As
Yeah, I think they had.
after that early game, it's definitely looking to slow down. Never mind, as Looney is looking for a gank into the mid lane, and X-Tice doesn't have enough damage. As
And on
again,
bot as well.
Shikiorn dies bot. I think it was a gank from Dutch that made it happen, but yeah, VTG really stepping it up in the early game akin to last game.
Yeah, and I mean, as we said, that CC on bot lane just from those few, Swain E and Jin W, and if you have the Volibear around and there's no cleanse on the Kaisa, you're just basically dead. Like you can't really counterplay so much CC as an AD carry so early on. So yeah, it's very very rough as on top Fabiolo gets a solo kill.
Yeah, a bit of a constellation prize there, Fabiolo with the solo bolo, but still forget that rhymes.
Yeah, it does. 1K gold lead now for the side of Vitagen, 4 minutes in. Looney resetting. We'll be going bot here, so they could be looking for a dragon on bot side. Jin deciding to go for a cool and for a Noon Quiver, so Jin already pretty big on items. Will be securing that lane push with the Noon Quiver as well, doing more damage onto the minions. So yeah, we have this wave. It will bounce into the side of NME after it hits the tower here. So Dutch also positioning around bot side. The dragons just spawned. It's an ocean dragon. Now it might be obviously a cloud, hexstake, mountain, or infernal soul for each team. I think Vitagen would. Okay, they just pick up a kill on bot onto the
The kills are just happening, man. I just can't react to them. The kills just happen right now, but
yeah, it's just bot is it's really
rough.
It's rough. It's very rough. Yeah, obviously Vitagen picking up the first dragon here. Their gold lead is almost at 2k at 5 minutes already, 1.7k.
Yeah.
And it's just looking very grim for NME already so far in their early game. Obviously, as I was saying, I don't exactly know what dragon is next. Would be good to know. If it is Mountain Dragon, yeah, it is. So this is kind of a saving grace for NME for the fact that it won't be Mountain Soul, because Vitagen would do very, very well with Mountain Soul. Much more than NME. I think NME wants like a Infernal or Hextech Soul even.
Yeah, you need the damage.
You already have a glass cannon comp with basically damage everywhere.
That's behind.
No real front line, no real peel. So
oh, as Looney, yeah, dashes onto Captain, and Captain has to use the W to run away, and yeah, Looney won't continue. So far, so good for Vitagen.
Yeah, Captain and opting for the first item, Bramble, actually, into the Wukong, kind of stopping his health regen. Also interesting, we're going to see Diana rushing the Nashor's Tooth, so wants to say, look, I'm going to be farming quite a lot. Usually when you go Nashor's Tooth, Diana, you also...
Up with Looney. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, usually in Nashor's Tooth, Diana, you kind of are going to build a bit more tanky, so with something like a Sunfire, or even Riftmaker, which personally I don't like those builds, but because I do think you kind of need the engage, right, from proto build, get that movement speed, just secure your access to the backline. I think it's just very, very strong. But yeah, other than that, nothing really interesting that we're seeing from other players. Obviously,
Looney here might be biting out more than he can chew, as Captain and Dutch are following him, but Shocking is here to save him. Captain charging up the ultimate, does knock away Shocking, and Looney almost gets taken down, but Fabiolo dashes in with the ultimate, takes him down. Looney's still gonna get taken down by Bart Papa, who's, even though he's on a different pick, still gonna look to roam, and Vitagen are securing themselves a double kill, one of them going to X-Tice.
Yeah, and this was a play that was looking very strong at the start for NME, picking up the kill onto Dutch. Dutch didn't even use his ult. He had it up. Probably would have even survived if he managed to use it to buffer the Wukong ult. So, yeah, again, nice attempt from NME, but very nicely done from Vitagen responding and, just playing much, much cleaner than what they did in Game 1 so far. Much, much stronger. And obviously, Barda Papa roaming, getting that map pressure, something that we've seen in Game 1. And he's transferring it over here to Game 2.
Yeah. Nice to see from VTG, you know, showing why they're a Div 1 team as akin to the Div 2 team. So it's nice to see them have a bit of a better early game. Sadly, it probably won't result in a banger game as we would hope, but you know, you
Yeah,
take
the game is still young. The game is still young. We've seen a lot of stuff happen so far in SLE. As
game one
we-
happened.
Yeah, game one was definitely much different than what generally was expected, right, from everyone. But obviously, if we just take a quick look here at the cools, even slight CS lead on bot lane. If we can get the gold graph pulled up, it would be for each player. If you see the gold lead on the Jhin over his counterpart on bot lane is almost a 1.3k gold lead. Also, support has a 1k gold lead on their counterpart. So yeah, and mid laner as well. It's VTG getting gold leads across the board from their counterparts, and that will be hard for NME at the moment, as Fabiolo on top here looking for a fight.
Yeah, bit of a trading action, but Fabiolo too close to his tower to die. But yeah, so far domination from all of the solo laners and the duo lanes. Like VTG just ahead in almost every role except for a bit 6 CS in jungle. X-Tice
Yeah,
is
and even then it's kind of irrelevant because he does have the kill XP and he does
Yeah.
have the assist XP.
Oh, but X-Tice is here in the top lane looking to catch out Fabiolo, and even with the Moonfall, Captain is still gonna pick up the kill. As do they still want to fight? Looney did knocked up by Captain and gets sniped by X-Tice. Shocking does pick up a kill on Captain, but yeah, I don't think anything more is gonna happen. Oh, X-Tice almost gets the kill. Wait, Dutch is here. Dutch has the
Volley has
ultimate,
ult.
yeah. And I think this is spelling the end for Shocking's life here. Doesn't even use it. Ah, there we go. The ult, maybe not used for the right reason, but
it was style points. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's asserting dominance again. on
3.8k
Dutch.
gold. 3.8k gold. So. And now
And
it's a
with that
4k.
Herald- Yeah, with that Herald, the gold lead will be getting even bigger when they do decide to pop it down. Dragon spawning right now, so I think enemy's best option is just to go trade the dragon. I think positioning around top side here might be a bit of a blunder for NME, as I don't think they can really contest this. I think it's pretty dangerous. Obviously, Dutch used his ult, Captain and used his ult. Zyra, I can't pronounce her name, but VTG pick up the Herald, and okay.
Oh, as X-Tice gets a kill. I'm sorry if I was a bit tuned out there, but yeah, VTG securing a swift double kill after the Herald. After securing the Herald, I'm not sure what enemy was thinking, but going for the kill, going for the fight there.
Yeah, it looked a bit of a winning fight at the start for NME. I was with obviously Fabiolo and Looney going in, but it just didn't pay off. It just didn't work as much. Even the fact they try to contest Herald, try to just take it. Dutch doing nice, smiting it away, picking up the Herald. Looney picking up Nashor's Tooth in base now, and interestingly, we see X-Tice in mid lane on Medjai's 10 stacks already. So Ari is very big right now.
Yeah.
Bot LMR getting caught out. Nice flash and heal using both sums.
Yeah, and Shikioran even uses the killer instinct to go forward. So wait, but as we say, that Dutch might be taking out Shocking. Pops the Swain ultimate as well to try to chase him down, but he does get CC down. Could I be able to turn it around as Looney comes in with the double Moonfall as he secures a kill on both Dutch and Bardapapa, and that's probably gonna be Drake. So signs of life here from enemy, all things considered.
Definitely finding those picks and picking up this dragon is very important for NME. I think if they did lose this dragon now, it would be spelling a lot of doom here for the side of NME. But getting back, now it's a 4k gold lead. I think they clawed up 1k gold out of that one fight in this dragon. So nicely done as well. Also picking out both summons on LMR, forcing him to recall. That was just really nicely played on the bot side of the map for NME. As on top, we're seeing a bit of a trade between Captain and Fabiolo. And yeah, obviously Captain is now at a point with the Sunfire against no Mythic even, with a Bramble Vest. So Wukong will be struggling here in the matchup right now as he picks up the Divine Thunder.
And yeah, Shocking. X-Tice fighting in the mid lane. X-Tice with a
the
1
charm.
level lead. Shocking is getting low. Doesn't get the W healing, and X-Tice picks up another solo kill. on as Looney might get chased down by Dutch, might be biting off way more than he can chew. As Dutch still chasing him down, Looney getting extremely low, and the slam dunk from the volley bear as Looney gets taken down as well. So it looked promising, as now we see Shiki Oren getting bullied under his turret. He's probably gonna get taken out any second now. Barpapa using the ult for good measure, gets taken down in the end. And we see another fight, top lane, Captain, and Captain actually gets a kill. Almost everyone are dead.
Yeah, and
What is this?
It was a sign of life from NME. Just a minute ago on that bot side dragon, there was a 4K gold lead. And yeah, VTG saw that and said, no, we don't do that here, and extended, basically just doubled their gold lead. I think if we get the gold graph right now, I think it would be like a steep
taking
hill.
enemy straight back to earth after the high they had.
Yeah, they had a high, got 1K gold back in their pocket, and then VTG just said, no.
Okay, you had your fun. Now you had your fun. But yeah, it's X-Tai is putting up a masterclass in mid laning right now. Both game 1 and game 2 really being the thing that's been putting VTG over the edge of enemy. Obviously, can't stress enough that LMR also has a pretty big lead. Also was a decent part of VTG's win in game 1. But I've been really impressed with X-Tai, as he's been throughout the entire season, in my opinion.
Yeah, and voice crack, lovely. As we might be seeing a dive here on top, but nicely done from Captain on that W to stop the Diana.
Oh, and here comes the entire team to flank them as Dutch misclicks. And Sonya's as Shocking actually takes down Barpapa in the river, actually. So what looked like be a disaster for enemy, as but Looney, surely he dies here.
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't get stunned.
That must have been like pixel perfect, but still gets taken down in the end by Captain. But that could have been worse, as Shocking still wants to fight, still wants to get kills, but I don't think you can do it, Shocking. Dutch is dashing in with the ultimate. Shocking gets taken down, as here comes the sniper. Big sniper, Captain, gets up with a sliver of HP, but yeah. And
Shiki Oren here, on the back line. Oh, that's deep.
4 people, that is not the play! And enemy is just desperation plays all over the map for enemy right now.
Yeah, massive gold lead for the side of VTG, and 10k at this point. Ari might even pick up that tier 2 bottom tower, which will be another 600 gold in the pocket of Ari, who's already very, very big. Yeah, but I don't know if that was BMing or if it was a misclick with that random stopwatch going walk up to fight.
Oh, Shocking, wanted to get some farm, but there's just impending doom in his future as X-Tai takes another kill. 6-0. Is that 14? Is it 18? How many Magi stacks is that?
It's 18. It's 18 Magi stacks for Ari.
Yeah,
it's
turbo fed.
It's turbo fed for the side of VTG, and 16 minutes in game, 17 minutes about, and there's already a 12k gold lead. So yeah, NME, they need a miracle. They need a miracle.
They need what happened. They need a game 1. What happened to VTG. So we'll see if they can achieve that.
After that shaky performance from VTG, though, it's really good to see them bounce back as strongly into game 2 right now. Obviously, Herald being up, objective bounty is obviously being up as well. Looney on top, running away from everyone, executing.
Yeah. Oh, but with the flash forward, Looney, and yeah, that just kind of sums up this entire game, as they are looking for the Herald, not gonna commit to the Dragon, but I guess enemy can't do that either. So
yeah, I mean, even catching out like solo is, you see, like maybe grouping for an objective like this would be good, right? Just to get the objective bounty, but they can't even do that. The waves are pushed in, they can't pressure towers. Obviously, the Herald is falling down, Volibear is just soloing it. The whole VTG team is moving to the Dragon to secure that as well. It being Cloud Soul as well also means, yeah, sure, like enemy can survive if it gets to soul point, but I think the deficit as it is right now is really rough for enemy to come back. And as VTG pick up the second Dragon of the game here for them.
And I said it before this game started that I hope that Dutch might get caught out here. Has to pop the Zhonya. Is actually good this time as he probes the ultimate to get even tankier. And Looney with the double moonfall, not gonna be enough as... Oh, comes the current call. Ooh, shocking that.
One out of 4.
Yeah.
1 out of 4.
Yeah, 25% hit rate. We take those. But I did say before the game that I hope that the... Yeah, we're just gonna call it a throw because it's easier to say that. The throw from enemy didn't get to the enemy players' heads. That they wouldn't tilt them, basically. But from what I've seen so far, you know, with Shiki Orin killer instincting into 4 people, Looney just being caught out so many times in the enemy jungle, Shocking being solo killed over and over again. It definitely feels like the game 1 had an effect on these players. I'm not the guy to assume, but I feel like my assumptions are correct this time.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would necessarily agree, right? But like bot lane as a whole was already like a very stressful experience, especially when you're playing in something like a Swain. I personally hate playing against that champion. It just like hooks you through minions. How is that fair? Explain that to me. How is hook through minions fair? But yeah, besides that, it's
Shiki Orin has to flash away from the 4 members, but it's probably gonna get run down. CC chain is just way too huge. Flash and cleanse burned.
Styles is still looking there. Looney out of position on mid, might get hit by Swain, and he does.
Gets hit by the hook, and it's just so much damage. Captain is here as well. It's depression gaming. Not even enemy is not even a 30k yet.
It's just very, very downhill for NME. It's been a very rough game from the beginning, from that bot lane. And yeah,
Mount Everest.
Vitagen had that, you know, kind of misplay around Dragon where NME picked up the first Dragon, lost 1k gold, you know, lead went to 4k gold, but after that it just went downhill. And if we look at the gold, like 10k gold on Ari, that's insane.
They can't even out-level the support.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like... And you know, you have Ari that has so much gold and is sitting on a Medjez with almost full stacks as well. They will be picking up the Baron as well, so this will be just more gold for everyone.
I expect them to just end in the coming 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you have a Volibear, you can just keep sieging, and once you get to those Nexus towers, you just double ult them and just melt them down.
You have
so
amazing wave clear. Yeah, you have great wave clear. You have good tower dive. They don't have any wave clear.
So... Yeah, again, besides the Zyra, I guess you have some wave clear there, but other than that, it's just rough.
It's rough right now. These picks really not coming together in this game. As Looney
almost getting hit,
but the Everfrost and the one-shot Dutch picks up the kill in the end. Yeah, you saw how much gold Dutch was getting. 140 gold for that kill.
I mean, Looney being 1-9 right now doesn't really give away as much gold.
I did question the Diana pick.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but we did say beforehand, Looney doesn't play those, you know, he plays mostly carry champs. As a Swain, Zhonya's there, and yeah, with the Herald mid, I think this could potentially even be game now, or just an inhibitor, if not else. The wave is dead though. They have the Baron, they have the minion.
I think you can go for this. Your team is so ahead. You can just go for just you can brute force it. You can afford to brute force it even.
I mean, 15k gold lead right now is massive. NME is struggling to even walk up to the wave even if they want to.
You have to be G2. You have to be G2 to throw that kind of lead.
But yeah, here we see the inhibitor on bot being picked up for Vitagen. They will be moving to pick up the mid lane inhibitor here as well. 22 minutes in game, 15k gold lead.
Break is spawning in how much time? It's about to
come a minute. It's around a minute, but yeah. No ways here for the side of Vitagen. Otherwise, I think they could be looking for an end potentially if they had matching mid and bot wave. But yeah, I think they will just fall back here, take the jungle.
Oh, wait, you say that, but X-Tice assassinates Dim Sum. Oh, this the X-Tice putting on a masterclass RE right now. Holy moly! And yeah, honestly, I think you can just finish the Drake with Dutch, and just have the rest of your team just sieging. I think you win 4v5.
I think you can easily just do a 4-1 here, just split around the map, obviously send 4 people top, have dodge there just to disable the tower if the fight gets long, and play captain and on the side. Actually, not even captain, and play X-Ties on the side, just
And
pushing out the way.
Shikyorin might be caught out again. The eye from Swain slowing him down, and Exile just is legendary. 9-0 and 5, 25 Magi stacks. And you know, I said game 1 that VTG had a Baron buff and a Dream to win that game. Enemy
Yeah.
doesn't have anything. They have a Mountain Drake, a single Mountain Drake, and a
And a dream.
and a Prayer.
Yeah, it could be a dream too. I mean, you know, pretty dreamy the fact that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just speechless, honestly. You know,
Yeah.
the stark contrast between both games so far has been pretty massive.
We haven't even. I don't even think we have gotten like clear team fights. Anyways, like it's just been kind of people getting caught off and.
Yeah, there was maybe just those small like 3v3 skirmishes, not
Yeah.
full on stuff, but I don't think team fights would change anything here. Obviously, enemies comp is more team fight orientated, right? But
Yeah. But,
I don't really think it
but
make...
look at the items. What items do you
Yeah.
have compared to them? You have Kraken Slayer, and he's gonna build a Witsen, so his Shikiorin's damage output is gonna be even lower.
Yeah, yeah. And that tier 2 tower will
and
probably be
Dim Sum
falling.
gets chunked down to half health by Barda Papa. As yeah, what else is there to say? VTG are sieging. They're just a way stronger team right now.
I believe in
game.
enemy. I put my money on them before the game.
Yeah.
It's just-
Healthy betting only on SLE, unless you're Sanix. Dimson almost
Dutch
gets taken
looking,
out.
but-
Dutch dashing forward, shocking. Did steal the Volibear ultimate, so might be able to do something as Shikyorin. He gets assassinated by the Poppy and the Ari as, yeah.
LMR also gets a
Apollo-
kill on the Wukong, but it's just a bloodbath in the
Yeah.
base of the enemy here, and I think this might just be game X-Eyes looking for
Yeah.
a kill as well.
Yeah, there were signs of hope from enemy that this could be a good series. But sadly they couldn't just not pull it out. They could not perform in game 2. And
Yeah.
VTG showing why the true difference between a Div 1 and a Div 2 team, as VTG looking to stomp enemy and looking to make the lower bracket final of SLE playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, almost 20k gold lead, you know, enemy had a very good run, knocked out Zero Gaming, knocked out RT1, but finally hit their hurdle. For enemy, and that's it. Enemy finishing 4th in SLE playoffs. Very good job from a Division 2 team, very performing, showing that Division 2 does have a place around the top of SLE as well. So yeah, nicely done.
Yeah.
Obviously Vitagen moving up into the top 3 teams in SLE so far, and yeah, we'll be facing off against the loser of Evo versus Gucci the next time they play. So
Yeah, and if you would, who would you expect them to face off in the lower bracket final?
I prefer not to speak.
Oh,
If I speak. No, but personally, I do think that Evo has shown quite a lot, especially against in their game against Vitagen, and in all 3 of those games against Vitagen. So you know, obviously, as I said, I think Gucci, you know, they played against Runtime, they played against RT1, but I just, you know, I think Evo showed much more in playoffs so far than what Gucci did. So that's why I'd probably say that Evo would win out that matchup, and it would be a Vitagen versus Gucci lower bracket match. But you know, obviously, I can't be surprised.
yeah, SLE has been, I would say, it's been pretty surprising so far. But sadly, enemies run ends here. I think they had a really impressive run before this matchup. You know, taking down 2 Div 1 teams, that's not an easy feat, and I think enemy can be proud of their performance in SLE so far.
Yeah, 100%. Now I don't know if we are getting an interview.
There was a double interview between I don't know who.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's Dutch and the top laner, Captain.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm assuming. It's Thais and oh, it seems to be Thais and Captain. So yeah, let's get him in here. Welcome, boys.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. I mean,
Good
firstly,
evening.
congrats on your win. Um, yeah. I mean, not much more to say, but I think the game two obviously was very one-sided, but game one, you kind of had a gold lead, but again, the game was you were losing out in those fights. So how were you kind of taking the approach, especially once the enemy team picked up the soul there in game one?
Yeah, the fights were kind of rusty, but at the end it went really well. Had some bad fights, but it's okay.
Outscaling pretty hard anyways, so it's
Yeah.
fine even if we lost a couple of fights early.
Yeah, I mean, no, from the cast, it really didn't seem like you were gonna win that game. You know, they had to sustain the Ocean Soul and everything, but as you said, you had a Baron buff and a dream, and you made that dream a reality. So I would say good job on that game one. And we obviously, and honestly, they were pretty weird drafts from from your enemy lineup. How did you react to the draft that enemy pulled out for in the first game?
I don't know, I feel like Wukong is not something you can blind pick top really. It's more of a count pick.
Was Wukong picked first game?
And Silas into Ari is
I'm talking first game.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, the
We
first
can-
game
we get-
went okay because we first picked the Gwen, and we wanted to go top with that, but then they went Warwick into it, so we kind of agreed that Gwen is really good into Swain, so we put her mid and go with on top, so we have the good engage and a lot of CCs, so that's nice.
Yeah.
And went really well.
Yeah, and game two was obviously very much more favored for you on VTG. And how did you react to their draft? Obviously, Captain and you started off on that discussion, so maybe you want to
Yeah,
continue your thought.
we want to count pick top lane, but it's they banned out all of my best champs. They banned 4 top lanes, so it was yeah. So I had to first time Poppy, but it was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, is there a lot? I don't think there's a lot to say about game two. You have anything to add, Sonix, about game two?
Nah, I mean game two. I mean, were you having fun game two towards the later stages? Because it looked so one-sided that it was I don't know. It's not much to add on to that game. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you're having fun, that's I guess the most important part.
Mm-hmm. And I think that should probably look to be
Actually,
the
no.
end.
I have a very important question. Actually, obviously, you guys are top 3 team right now. And you will be facing either Evo or Gucci Gaming in the bottom bracket final. So if it was up to you guys, who would you rather face?
Actually, I feel
Say
it's
that again. You're
I feel like we
lagging.
have the strengths to beat them both because the first time we had a lot of waiting time, so we are already in form and we're ready to beat all of those teams. So it's fine.
Safe answers. That's what we like to see.
yeah.
Well, do you boys have anything left to add before we wrap things up?
No, sir.
Nope. Well, then I think that's about it. Good job to Team Vitagen taking out enemy in a swift 2-0 series. Bit of a blunder game one, but game two really showing the difference between Div 1 and Div 2. And your casters today have been me and Sanix. And yeah, we'll look forward to the next game, which will be the upper bracket final.
Yeah.
Between
That's
Team
happening
Evo and
on Team Evo and Gucci, and I think it's happening on Tuesday, not 7 p.m. Same time as this, except
Yep.
Tuesday, not today, obviously.
well, we here at SLE, and thanks you for watching, and goodbye.
Bye bye.